Hey everybody, this is yesterday's meta. Wanted to take some time today to talk about some things that are upcoming. Just to make it clear, I do not work with Wizards of the Coast or Hasbro or the gaming industry in general. I have no insight into the actual cards that are going to be banned the announcement of what's banned on May 29th. But if I am going to speculate here because I have to say, the announcement that they were going to extend standard was very depressing. I'll be candid. I play a lot of standard because I have not been playing Magic Arena that long. I don't have a deep collection of cards to play really, really well in Historic. I've made some janky stuff in Historic that's fun, but I don't have the depth of cards that a player who's been playing a long time would have. I haven't been playing Arena very long. I played Paper Magic a long time ago, but Arena is now my bag. I'm showing this deck here because this is what I had to use to get out of Diamond and into Mythic for Standard Ranked. No matter what else I tried, whether it was Soldiers or Mono White or any jank that I came up with, or heaven forbid, any mono green or Simic or anything, nothing could get me all the way through. I would win two and lose three, win one and lose four. I had some 7 and 8 game losing streaks with net decks. Not even that they were it was, some homebrew that I I biffed it on, but it was just crazy. And this is the only thing that could get me through, which is pretty sad. Because if everybody has to play the same deck or a derivative of the same deck, that's not fun at all. What's the point of having all of these cards if everybody's only playing the same, 20? So with that going into a further rant, some of the cards I would ban. Number one, I would ban Cut Down. Um, it's ridiculously underpriced to be able to kill so many creatures with one black at instant speed. It might be better if this was made a sorcery, but it's not. It might be better if it was one black and one colorless, but it's not. I'm tired of having things destroyed right off the bat, especially if you're like me and you're on the draw a lot. It's really defeating to constantly have whatever you put out first die, or playing, when you realize you're playing against an opponent that's playing black, and all you can do is wait and wait and wait for something to pop up in your hand and to have enough mana that can get you around that power of toughness of 5 or less. So very, very frustrating. One mana should not be wrecking people's games this much. The other one I would ban is Fable of the Mirror Breaker. It's too much for one red and two more. It delivers way too much. The token generation, the hand filtering, and the deck filtering, and then the Kiki Jiki is just insane. Kiki Jiki plus Blood Tithe Harvester means your opponent will never have a meaningful creature on the board for the rest of the game. Total lockdown. Having done that, it wins, but doesn't feel great. Having been on the receiving side of it, it really sucks. So, I'm not saying that banning Blood Tithe Harvester is a good idea, because I don't necessarily think so. But taking away this accelerator of the Kiki Jiki, I think will make a huge difference. So if you can play Blood Tithe Harvesters, great. If you have other ways to make blood tokens, great. But at least you're doing 1-for-1s and not some 3-for-1 on turn 3, and then using that token so that on turn 4 you're popping a Sheoldred or a Cruelty of Gix or something like that. It's just insane to be able to do that. So I think those two cards should definitely go. And you'll see even in my own deck here, I have Bitter Reunion as the backup plan to Fable. If I can't find any Fables, but I find a Bitter Reunion, at least I can use that to get a Trax in my graveyard. Trax is also very overpowered. and imbalanced. The ability to play what's almost a mono black deck with a splash of red, and then I have a wide variety of reanimation cards. I've chosen these two because I think they offer the most value, but there are many others to choose from as well. It's not like the good old days where you had one and it was incredibly expensive to cast. So yeah, I don't propose banning all the reanimator cards, but maybe banning Atraxa from standard might be a good way to go. I think it might be. I think it's a little overpowered. They can't make it cost more, or they couldn't make it cost more because then it'd be totally prohibitive. And I understand the spirit of it. It's a 4-color combo set that people rarely ever play. Or if you're a 5-color player, are you going to have everything that you need to get to cast this from your hand? I don't know, but it's worth the payoff then. But if everybody and their mother is just and their brother is just, you know, dumping them in the graveyard and then reanimating them, refilling their hand, more deck filtering, more hand filtering, it's insane. It's really hard to lose when you have a Vat Emergence and a Cruelty of Gix in your hand, and a Traxa in your graveyard. So those cards I would definitely look to ban. But again, probably not Blood Tithe Harvester. I think on its own, it's a fair card. It's undercosted for the power that it has, and the abilities that it has, but not tremendously. This card doesn't break you on its own. But this card plus Fable, yeah, it's totally broken. So what else would I ban? Some other cards that I think have seen way too much play. Wedding Announcement is another one that I would ban. It's too much value. If your opponent is either mana shorted, or their hand wasn't really great, so they have lots of big cards and they're just waiting to play them, and all of a sudden you're sitting there with a trio of 2/2 human creature tokens, and then you start dropping other little creatures, and then they get +1/+1 as well, and it just grows and grows. And again, it's the text on the card is fine, it's the cost. 1 white and 2 more is way undercosted. So if you can't fix the cost of the card, ban the card. It ends up being, it forces you as a player to have to account for this. Am I facing a player who's playing white or mono white or Azorius or something like that, or Abzan? What do I have to account for that? Going back to this deck here, that's why I included Brotherhood's End specifically for cards like Fable of the Mirror or Wedding Announcement. I just got tired of having all these little tokens pile up, and then it just snowballs. So at least this card can handle it. But now I'm putting cards in my deck that it's not that I want to play them, it's I'm forced to have them. Otherwise, I'm looking at a beatdown, and that's not fun. That's not playing Magic. That's being defensive, and that's just not really a fun way to play. Another one that I would ban personally is rabble rousing. I think it creates too many snowball conditions where it's not even the hideaway part that really matters. It's the tokens and the exponential growth of the tokens that you get is insane. Considering how much of the game is mid game, this card is a killer. Having this card pop up on turn 4 or turn 5, and then 2 tokens become 4, 4 become 8, and it just keeps going and going and going. There are yes, there are lots of other cards that generate tokens, but not at this rate. It's the rate that's killing. And it's from Streets of New Capenna, so well timed. Should have been rotating out anyways, but that's another one that I think we can live without. Another one I would consider banning is Invoke Despair. I don't know why, and I don't know how, and I don't know if it's an actual glitch in the application. I rarely ever have an opponent that plays one. Um, they don't play all four. This is thank goodness. But there's something in there that when you have one and play one, it pulls another, or when you have one in your hand, it pulls another. And I can't figure it out. But it's just it happens so often. Is it confirmation bias? Possibly. Is it tinfoil hat? Most definitely. But there's something there, and it's again, it's not bad to face one Invoke Despair. Yes, it's gonna eat out a big chunk of your board presence, but it's the second one and it's the third one that really, really are demoralizing. So now, what am I doing to counter this? Am I throwing in blue so I can get some counter magic? Or that new Surge card that protects me from black. This one, Surge of Salvation. So again, now I'm forced to put cards in my deck, not because I want to play them, but because I need to defend against something that I'm seeing all day long. So I think that's really, the meat of the cards that should probably be banned. I know a lot of people have mentioned, Shelley, Children of the Apocalypse. I don't think so. Yes, it's undercosted for the value that it delivers. And yes, if you are playing a card drawing mechanism, if that's part of your win con, then this card really hurts you. But there's lots of ways to deal with it. It's not an artifact, so Go for the Throat can kill it. I've seen a lot of times, and I've done it myself, where this asinine combo between the Kiki Jiki and the Blood Tithe Harvester, and you get a couple of blood tokens out, and you can rip Sheldred for one at a tap, or pull them down and then cut them down. There's lots of ways to do it. I don't. It's not the best card to face. It's not the most fun card to face, but at the same time, there's so many ways around it. I don't think it necessarily needs to be banned. But that being said, there is another pair of cards that I think kind of missed the mark here. Let's take a look here. Phyrexian Vindicator is one. Actually, let's make this a little easier here. Phyrexian Vindicator, I have to play. I go for the throat, and cards like that. I have to play kill cards. I have to have them in my deck because that's the only way I can deal with this. Sure, maybe in blue I can bounce it back into your hand and then spend another spell countering it later. But that's a 2-for-1, and yeah, I get the premise of what the card's supposed to do, but between the flying and the invincibility of it, it's just too much. And then the other one that would also drop the hammer on is Phyrexian Obliterator. It's demoralizing watching your opponent, drop this on turn 4 and then turn one of their mana dorks sideways, pop a green, and then pop a bushwhack, or something like that. And now not only did you lose a creature, but you're losing a ton of your board presence. It's too easy to do. It's no fun facing it. And it feels cheap playing it. It's just not fun playing against this card or playing with this card. It doesn't feel good. In a Golgari deck or in an Abzan deck or in a 5-color deck, it's just too much. Again, it's not that it's underpriced, but it's just, yeah. I would not shed a tear if Phyrexian Obliterator was banned on the 29th, as well as the Phyrexian Vindicator. If both of them went, that would be A-okay in my book. So those are the ones that I really think should go. The other colors, I don't know. I play the other colors. Yeah, I try to as much as I can. But what what do you is there something that has to be banned in blue? Um, Probably consider. I think it's just too much value. If it said surveil one, that'd be great. If it said draw a card, it'd be great. But because of both, at instant speed, when you're on the play, it's just too much advantage between the filtering and the card advantage. It's just too much. So I would not shed a tear if we said goodbye to consider. On the green side, I don't know. Are there green cards worth getting rid of? I don't know. There's lots of green cards that are a pain in the butt to respond to, but nothing that really makes you say, "Oh man, I can't believe I have to face that." But if I absolutely had to, if you told me I definitely needed to take cards out of rotation and make sure every color got penalized, I would do the Tamio card and the Loran card that both offer kind of the similar thing. One of the color at instant speed, and you gain hexproof and indestructible. I think again that's one of those would be enough. Having both is too much. Having both plus another benefit is off the charts. So maybe Tamio safekeeping, and then the Lauren card that offers a similar value. Both of those, again, if they left the game, wouldn't kill me. What's demoralizing, watching your opponent put down two of the Rot Priests and then drop one of these, and now you're taking, they're not even doing anything to you. You're just taking poison counters like crazy. And that's not to say I'm opposed to a poison deck. I think a poison deck is fine, and even a creatureless poison deck is okay. But it's having to do things. Dropping one green is not having to do anything. But like the Dimir version, where you're getting in the game and you're playing a lot of cards, and you need a healthy chunk of mana to make it happen. At least that's something there, and I can get under you. I have a chance of winning. So those are the ones I would particularly focus on. There's another one that I've seen a lot of people talk about that I think wouldn't mind if it left as well, is Rafine. Another snowball card that's really hard to deal with, because when you're being attacked by 3 creatures or 4 creatures, and it's Rafine and some little ones, all of a sudden the one little one that has first strike or lifelink is now a lot bigger because they connived, and it's really that connive X where it I understand it's risk and reward is what they were shooting for, but quite frankly this is just it's seen a lot of play. It's an older card. If it left the format, would it kill Esper Legends? No. Would it hurt Esper Legends? Maybe. But I'm sure there's many other cards that could fill its place, and you'd still have a deck that was reliable and dependable. So yeah, Rafine, I wouldn't mind if Rafine left. And speaking of Esper Legends, I think that's really the big one that I would want to see go. So tell me what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm full of crap? What did I miss? I'm sure I missed something, but let me know in the comments below what you think. So thanks for watching. Hope you have a great time playing Magic.